Hey family, God bless you. I hope that all is well. I know it has been quite some time, but I wanted to pass by real quick on here and share with you a devotional that the Lord has placed in my heart. If you would go with me to Matthew chapter 5, and for some context, this is the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount, and Jesus begins speaking with the Beatitudes. As I was reading, the Lord really was ministering to me specifically in verse 8. Verse 8 here reads, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." Notice how it specifies that the pure in heart will see God. And the definition of pure is something that is not mixed with any other substance or material. And oftentimes we know that something that is pure doesn't have any mixture. It is solely filled and set on the very thing that it was intended to be pure for. That's why it's very important and imperative that we allow the Lord to purify our hearts. Because in the scriptures we see here in Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9, it says that the heart is deceitful among all things. Who can know it? Often we tend to question ourselves, like, why can't we see God rightly? Or why aren't we seeing the Lord move in our lives? And I believe that it is truthfully off of the fact that we might have a mixture that is in our heart that is blocking us from seeing the Lord rightly. A true pure heart for God will not allow any mixture from the world to enter in. As I was reading and being ministered to here in this verse, the Lord ministered to me something so profound that I want to share with you, and I pray that blesses you. He said that purity gains access to see Him, but mixture impairs our vision of Him. And that's why we must ask God to search our hearts. You see, we see this beautiful example of it with David in Psalm 139, verses 23 and 24 to be specific. The Word of God says here, "Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." And I believe that this was David's heart cry out to the Lord, because David knew that there was mixture from within his heart that was blocking him from seeing the Lord rightly. That's why he says, "See if there is any offensive way in me." We often know David as a man after God's own heart. And I believe that he was crying out to be purified from within, for that mixture to be removed, so he can be led to the way everlasting, so he can be led toward the everlasting Father. And I believe that that is the same posture that we should remain in, is asking God to search our hearts, to allow Him to purify our hearts. Because the very reason that we tend to complain on why we're not seeing God rightly, or why we aren't seeing Him move, is because our heart has a mixture of attachments to things that it was never intended to be attached to. And that's why we must allow the Lord to purify us, even if it's removing the very thing that your heart is attached to. It is for the better of our heart being purified and seeing Him rightly. That's why the Word of God says in Matthew 5:8, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." Family, I pray that this devotional has blessed you. I pray that it ministers to you. And if you can do me a favor, like, comment, share, repost, allow this message to reach who it needs to reach. God bless you, family.